Hello, Janelle. You've done a nice job on your week one work. Scales look good. One thing I'll note is that the black is not 000 in the RGB area. You'll see that in the color picker. Also in tones between the first and second square, there's a little bit of a jump. I noticed that you got fully saturated colors for your gradation of hue. Gradation of value is good. In gradation of saturation, the value is almost constant. I think you were a little more successful with that sort of thing in the tone scale. Hello, Megan. I took a look at all of the scales, and yours seems to be the best. I scrutinized it closely. Everything seems quite good there. With assignment 4, these should be presented as separate files, each its own composition. Additionally, I think you can leave words out of the composition and just let us know what's what with your file naming. Everything looks to be good, and your gradation of saturation checks out to be constant in value, and all the designs are quite good, but that last one, the gradation of saturation, is entirely amusing. Well, Hillary, you've done a very nice job on your week one work. You know, the scales are quite good. The only shortcoming I can find is that your black is not true black, which should be R0G0B0. What a lovely gradation of hue. I would say add a teeny bit more black space to the top, just so that it has room to breathe. Um, both of your other two parts could qualify for gradation of value. And actually, both of these are technically also gradations of saturation. However, for the gradation of saturation part in this particular assignment, you are asked to keep value constant, which means that what you needed was something a little more like the tones scale. Hi, Cedric. There are a lot of good things going on here. I see that you have the general idea with tints, shades, and tones. There were some rules that were set by the assignment, and one of them was that at extreme left, all three colors should be just the same. So you've started with a different one. Um, and another thing to consider is that you're asked to keep tones constant in value. And I talked about how to check for that in Photoshop. Take a copy of the file and use image mode grayscale to make it black and white. That helps you to judge better. Now, I want you to let go of your creativity a little bit and try to come up with a solution more like the samples that you're given. And I know you may just be getting accustomed to using the software, but you can see that your work looks a little different from the samples. I arranged these so the top right one, would be gradation of hue, bottom left gradation of value, and bottom right gradation of saturation. And roughly you have the idea, but I need you to be more exacting with the next work you submit. Hi, Cheryl. Taking a look at your scales, why they're quite good, and tones especially seems to have constant value. That's a hard thing to achieve. I believe that your white and black are just a little bit off, and also for a perfect gray, the red, blue, and green values in the color picker should all be identical. Now, in assignment 4, gradation of hue, those colors should be fully saturated. However, that is a nice design, and it seems as though your gradation of value is really one of the best that was presented this session in my classes. With gradation of saturation, well, I think you had more success keeping values constant in your tone scale. Hi, Renee. Some nice work here. Your scales look pretty good. In tones between square 1 and 2, there's a bit of a jump saturation-wise. However, I do notice that the tone scale has been kept pretty constant in terms of value. When I take a look at the right end boxes, for tints you want white, that's 255, 255, 255 for the R, G, and B values. And then with black you want 0, 0, 0. For perfect gray, all three values should be the same. Now, for part 1 of assignment 4, this is very nice work. The only small thing I could say about it is the colors are not as fully saturated as they can go, but they are nearly there. This is a fun design, and actually all of these are. You've got great ideas. And congratulations with the gradation of saturation, because that's an excellent job of keeping value constant. Hi, Kaylee. Well, looking at your assignment 4, you have the right idea. When I take the color picker to the colors in your hue uh, gradation, they are bright, but they're not fully saturated. Also, that design in particular could be more complex. Value is correct. Saturation is pretty good. However, value might be more constant, and of course you're meant to use circles. However, I will say that I really like the complexity of the saturation design. Hi Crystal, your scales look quite good. I'd like you to check the RGB values in black at the end of shades. With part 1 of assignment 4, those colors should be fully saturated. Also, please omit stroke from Illustrator files until we get to week 5. Then you could start using that if you care to. With the gradation of value, well, that is correct, but let's work with hue. Let's work with color instead of neutrals. And in gradation of saturation, well, those values could be a little more constant. You had more success with that kind of thing in the tone scale. And lastly, I want you to work at creating original designs. Some of these seem a little bit like samples that were provided, and it's up to you as a student of art to be making original work. So maybe keep a sketch pad at your side to note down ideas as they occur to you. Hi, Joe. Really good work here. Looking at your scales, everything seems right on except the first and second blocks in tones seem to show a bit of a jump. So the interval could be a little less at that point. I enjoy your colors and design with part 1 of assignment 4. All those colors are fully saturated, and I'm really amused by what you came up with for the gradation of value. And I'm going to say something about blues. This goes for everyone. There's a little fault in Photoshop. It's a flaw where some blues wind up looking lavender. So that's not the artist's doing, that's actually Photoshop's doing. And let's see, with regard to constant value in saturation, I think you're pretty close. Hi Kathleen, looking at your scales, I can see that you have the idea. A couple of things. In tones between the first and second blocks, there is a rather big jump in value. Also, let's see. When I look to the extreme right, the top is meant to be pure white, the middle black, and the bottom, gray. And the best way to find out if you've got a true gray is to see if the R, G, and B values are all the same. For black, they're going to be 0, 0, 0. And for white, they're going to be 255, 255, 255. And anything between those two is going to be a neutral gray. Now, let's see. For your assignment 4, you've got some really unique and beautiful solutions. They're quite accurate, too. Hello, Lana. Your scales look quite good. I'd like you to check the RGB values for your white and your gray. Now, on to assignment 4. Things look pretty good. I want you to let go of stroke with Illustrator files, and you'll see directions for that in the classroom. Also, I would say that these designs could be a little more complex. Patricia, things look quite good in your scales. I will say that the last score in tones should be entirely neutral. That means your R, G, and B values can all be the same. With a gradation of hue, well, a gradation is a transition, and those colors, while fully saturated, do not make a gradual transition. And the other two, well, nice ideas. Both of those are more like the assignment's gradation of value.